Hey guys, what's up? It's a cultural detective here investigating your favorite albums, and today I'm going to do an album review on Heyo, Fawa. Originally I thought this album title actually meant something, but because fa means flower, and the word wa can refer to many things, and it can refer to fan wa, which means busy and bustly, but in a very glorious and sort of eventful way. But actually, I have overthought the name of this album, Fawa. Is kind of a pun, kind of a double entendre, because fa means flower, and flower, flower, fawa. Anyways, I personally have promised to review more music from where I actually come from and am staying right now, Hong Kong. Earlier in 2020, I have reviewed several Hong Kong albums, and I gave none of them a score above 6. The best one I found so far is Eason Chan's Shall We Talk, Shall We Dance, where he sort of breaks the mold, breaks the usual Cantopop mold, and sort of becomes slightly experimental, and I really appreciate that. However, it didn't really work out in his favor because he's just not particularly good at making disco funk. But on the other hand, we have the incredibly generic and basic rock bands and pop artists in Hong Kong whose music is so bland and so generic, even though I've listened to their music like many times in order to review them, I can recall none of them right now. Bands like Supper Moment, which again, it's ironic because I think the frontman of the band Supper Moment came from the same secondary school as I also came from, and their music is bland. I'm just gonna be honest here. And then we have Dear Jane with 101, where it starts off pretty interesting, but it just slogs. The second half of the album just slogs. And of course, we have Jason Chan. His album is the first album which I went through in my Hong Kong album review series, and it's incredibly boring. And aside from that, I also released 2 albums, one from Singapore by JJ Lin and the other from Taiwan, that is Mayday. The JJ Lin one was disappointing still, and I have even received a very hateful comment on that review, which actually turned out quite hilarious. However, I must admit that the Mayday album that I reviewed was surprisingly not bad, and it had become one of my favorite albums I've reviewed that aren't from either Europe or America or Southern America or Japan. Yeah. But now we return to the local Hong Kong music. And I've talked about Hong Kong pop and rock and maybe a little disco funk, but I've never talked about rap music in Hong Kong because, truth be told, rap music in Hong Kong sucks ass. It's some of the cringiest stuff I've ever listened to. Probably cringier than Chainsmokers. So you know how cringy it gets. And so I've tried my very best to reach out my fingers and find an artist who's actually good at rapping and writing rap music. And I've stumbled across this person, Heyo, or MC Heyo. His real name is Fokaho, and Fawa is an album released in 2016, and it is his second album slash mixtape. Because in Hong Kong, there really isn't a difference between mixtape and album. So, album. And, damn, I was disappointed because half of this album isn't even rap. Half of it is just pop. But there are the rap parts, so I'm gonna go over the whole thing track by track. The intro is called Mo Meng, which I think is a pun of sorts because Mo Meng usually refers to anonymous, but this Meng isn't the name Meng. This Meng is more like clear, like like clear kind of 明 or 明白 understand kind of 明. So anyways, it is a really short intro with a nice moody instrumental and crispy drums. This could legit end up a good song, except it's just the intro track. And then it ends. It builds up to nothing. It builds up to nothing. Then we have the second track, 我玩故我在, which is a triple entendre. 我思故我在 is the Cantonese translation of I think therefore I am, except in this song title it's 我玩故我在, which means I play or have fun, therefore I am. But the therefore in this word, in this song title, isn't the therefore of the 我思故我在. This 故 means something else, and it means I still am, so I have fun, but I'm still myself. I'm still here. And yeah. This track is one of those rap songs where they try to be playful, braggadocious, trying to have fun, and cheeky, and goddamn, this song is so obnoxious. And there's a feature in this thing, and oh my god, it is atrocious. The layered vocal harmonies are ugly and stiffly produced, and it is definitely one of the worst songs of the entire album. Then we have the next track, 盛夏的舞, or Summer Dance, and it is the most played song in this album, in Spotify, and I don't understand why, because this is a very sloppy, slow, uneventful sort of track, pop rap track. We have a feature, of course, a singing feature, and the female vocalist on this track and the rapper himself have no chemistry whatsoever. They sound like they are poles apart. And another thing about this track that's so annoying is that it's repetitive as hell. The verse is literally again and again and again and again and again, melodically, and it's annoying as hell. We have the track maybe, 美字, which basically means unnecessarily, maybe, uncertainty. And it is a pretty slow keyboard rap track, and instrumentally it's actually not that bad, though it's pretty forgettable and bland. And lyrically, this track kind of describes a young person, where in Heyo's perspective, he describes a young person, his dreams, his futures, his social relationships, and sort of find something poignant out of it, which I guess is really nice. We have saxophones on this track. It just came out of nowhere and it doesn't fit the instrumentals at all. Then we have another skit, and it's called Mo, or Fog. And we have some nice smooth pianos, a beat that is almost a trap beat, but not quite. And again, it's actually a good instrumental, and Heyo could legitimately rap on top of this instrumental and come out with a good song, but no, it's a 57-second long skit, for God's sakes. Homeless is a more emotional track about being homeless, or figuratively or literally, because on this track he also talks about how he feels like he doesn't belong anywhere. And the beat is basically some very stripped back guitars and just a really regular drum beat. And then we get the hooks, which is just such a dud. We got the "Ayo homeless, I'm a real homeless," and then we get the actual chorus of the thing, which again we get these female vocals, and it kind of reminds me of like one of those really mediocre and generically written songs off of Eminem's Recovery for some reason. And actually, this isn't the only point in the album where you can really hear Eminem influences, and not even early Eminem, like mid discography Eminem. The next track is Tiêu Gun, and it's actually not bad. I love the dreamy keyboards, the lyrics about griefing, with flowers, because that's basically what Diugun means. It's like Diu is like in a sense it means wilt, like a plant being wilt, but at the same time it's also mourning, like mourning someone's death, grieving, dealing with grief. And gun is basically a flower, so it's like mourning with flowers. And yeah, I also like that he tries to incorporate classical Chinese or traditional Chinese instrumentations into his beat, which is interesting. But all is fine until the friggin' stiff vocal harmonies popped up again. Gosh, it's like Relapse. It's like one of the more emotional cuts off of Relapse by Eminem, but more annoying. The next track is Napam, which means pointless screams, like trying to scream and shout, but it's pointless. And conceptually, this track is actually pretty interesting. It starts off with these really sad pianos, and it sort of gets louder and noisier, and it builds into a very climactic and emotional explosion at the end. And it's just one of those songs where it's like at first really sad, like, oh my god, this society is kill or be killed, so I'm gonna put myself at a stronger place. I'm gonna train myself. I'm gonna fight hard, and I'm gonna succeed in this society. And it's just one of those motivational songs. But god damn, the production at the end is so compressed. It's awful. Then we have the track Piulo Jun, or again, these song titles, man, what the hell? Piulo is like a feather floating around in the air. Literally, that's what it means, but it can also mean figuratively, like I'm roaming around the society, not knowing what to do. And June is like spinning. And yeah, this track, again, it's not bad. It's just that the hook is forgettable, and the way the Chinese classical instrumentations are not well integrated into the beat. And then we have the third last and the second last track, 我歌 and 我的 hip hop, which means my song and my hip hop. And these two songs are actually easily the two best songs off of the entire album, in my opinion. The former of the two, 我歌, my song, is a track where Heyo actually rides on top of the beat very smoothly and very confidently as well. And even though the arena-sized chorus is kind of mediocre, it's definitely one of the better choruses off of the entire album. And lyrically, this track deals with his creative process and how he believes that writing music and writing songs can spread messages and legitimately help people. The second track, My Hip Hop, is where from how I speculated, he describes the genre of hip hop as a girl that he likes, and it just reads like a romance story, which isn't the most original thing ever, but I appreciate the effort. The beat is a little stronger, the instrumental is okay, and lyrically it's not bad. And then the album ends off with 难得糊塗, which means 难 means difficult, but 難得 is like if something rare happens, something good and something rare happens, then you would say that thing is 難得, because it's difficult to achieve that thing, and it's a good thing. And 糊塗 means being clumsy or being messy in general, so I guess this song title can be translated to it's difficult to be clumsy, but in a good way. It's weird. Anyways, this track is a very basic and anticlimactic ending to the album, in my opinion. The electronic instrumentations of this track is generic as hell. And once again, we get the stiff-ass vocal harmonies, so we're just gonna end it off right here. So, my favorite track on this album is我的 hip hop, my hip hop, and my least favorite is probably 我玩故我在, I play therefore I still am. or Summer Dance. And I'm giving Heyo's Flower a strong 4 out of 10. So, have you listened to this album? From 1 to 10, how much did you rate it? Like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. I will review 2 more local Hong Kong albums, and 2 classic albums, and maybe 2 more 2020 albums. And, yeah.